Hi, I'm Sarah Salter. Today we will be discussing learning disabilities. Reading and lesson plan. Struggling readers. Facts is 1 in 5 students is known to have trouble with learning to read. 80% of students have deficits in reading, and children from low SES families are at higher risk for a lack of success in education. Characteristics of future obstacles. Children who talk later have delayed speech at age 2 will be more likely to have reading problems. They have trouble understanding when they speak, and they have trouble repeating nursery rhymes and or singing songs. Balanced literacy programs. This includes reading to children, shared books and writing experiences, training in phonemic awareness, listening experiences and development of oral language, development of systematic vocabulary, silent reading, and content area reading and writing. Phonemic awareness is the understanding that spoken words and syllables are made up of sequences of speech sounds and that it is possible to isolate these sounds in order to assist oneself in spelling or writing. Teaching reading or learning for learning disability students. Steps is to convince the child that you can teach them to read. Discuss the rewards that are preferred by the child. Find out what the child does and does not know. Determine the level of word recognition. Determine if the child can blend sounds into new words using nonsense words. Listen to the child read and their independent reading level. Analyze data and make strategic plans with goals. Word walls, how do they work? It is a visual index and motivator. Add words as they are taught in spelling and decoding. Do daily reviews to remind the students what they have learned. Word families and word clumps. Remind students that not every word is a new word. For example, the at family includes cat, bat, sat, hat, rat, etc. Emerging readers. Practice for 30 minutes each day in different sessions. Have parents read with the students at home. Introduce the silent E. Have them practice vowel sounds. Use motions for short vowels. Teach sight words. Lesson plan for reading skills. This is the Madeline Hunter's lesson plan guide. I use standard RS 3.3. Relate to prior knowledge, then introduce a lesson. The lesson this time, I used clapping out the syllable to learn to chunk words. Differentiation is different size words. You can see up here, we first put the learning outcomes, vocabulary, materials. What standard will you use? The Common Core State Standard. Prior knowledge to relate to this lesson. Questions that will ask for clarification. The anticipatory set. What will hook the students to the lesson? What's the objective and purpose of this lesson? Explain new information and make connections to the prior knowledge section. Modeling, what will you do to show them what you mean? Guided practice, how are you going to teach them? What are they going to do? How are you going to check for understanding? And what will you have them do to practice independently? What are you going to do to close? And how are you going to differentiate the levels at the 3 different tiers? Written expression and lesson planning. Writing, spelling, and speaking. Facts. These are different processes of learning and disabilities. Assessing speech and the ability to create verbal language is often a teacher's first step to the evaluation of reading and writing. Spelling is a student's ability to create words that are grammatically correct. Assisting with spelling. Help the student to improve penmanship. Meet with a speech pathologist for remediation in speech, and can meet with a physical therapist to work on fine motor skills to improve penmanship. Spelling methods. Say the word, have students repeat. Spell the word, have students repeat. Students watch your mouth as you slowly say the word. Students repeat the phrase 3 times as you point to the letters. Students write the word 3 times as you say the letters. Have students individually close eyes and plug ears, then spell the word. Teach handwriting. Emphasize the basic shape of a letter. Represent different styles of a letter and reiterate the sound that it makes. Trace letters. Mechanics of writing. Trace letters with different colors. Teach proofreading skills. Teach students to analyze their sentence to be sure it is a complete thought. After they recognize and structure a sentence, learn how to do the same with paragraphs. Lesson plan for writing skills. This is again the Madeline Hunter's lesson plan guide. I use standard LL1B1. Show progress in identifying and associating letters with their names and sounds. I'm going to relate this back to prior knowledge, then introduce a lesson. The lesson is finger or motion spelling in whiteboards to practice writing and sounding out words. Finger or motion spelling is holding your hand up in the air and spelling things in the air with your fingers, or writing word or letters with your fingers. Differentiation is you can use iPads or smaller motions. The iPads, you can use the paint pad if they do not have the skills to do large body motions in the air. Mathematics and lesson plans. Lack of readiness is when students do not have the proper experiences to get them to the academic level in which other students are at. So if they do not go to preschool, they will not be at the academic level that they may need to be at that time. Visual perceptual deficits. Difficulty writing numbers or often reversing them. Students do not grasp meaning of words, cannot count without manipulatives, and older students cannot line up columns of numbers. Poor spatial sense and memory. Poor spatial sense. Students have trouble with concepts such as over and under or less and more. Poor memory. Students struggle to memorize facts automatically, and they use their fingers or paper marks to count. Assessments. The purpose of an assessment is to see what level the students are at academically, and they can show the strengths and weaknesses and help establish what gaps are present. Level of understanding. Concrete understanding is the most basic level of mathematical understanding, is when students have plenty of time to manipulate concrete objects. Representational understanding is problem solve and draw pictures that represent the concrete objects used in the previous stage. Abstract understanding does not need concrete objects or manipulatives, rather with only the use of numbers and mathematic symbols. Lesson plan for math skills. Learning outcomes, this is again the Madeline Hunter's lesson plan guide. The standard is LK5A, sort common objects into categories, and then relate back to prior knowledge, then introduce the lesson. The lesson: have students sort manipulatives based on shape, color, and size. The differentiation: amounts of manipulatives given. The end. Thank you.